shortcuts or what are the topics we should cover and what are the topics we should give important like that. So we are expecting the exam point of view questions so that we can score some good marks in these modules, these papers.
Good. That's exactly what we are also trying to do. Okay, Vishnu.
Okay, sir. We'll take it forward, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I know it's a late evening session for all of you, and basically, and that's a business mathematics session. A late evening, it's going to be a bit heavy on your head. But what we are trying to do is like the session is going to be exclusively on the examination perspective, and we're not going to try to explain you any concept, because by this time you already might have been clear on your concepts. We're going to give you one question, and what are the possible questions they're going to ask you in the examination is only what we're going to deal today, right? And any questions and queries you have from your end, meaning like sometimes what happens, you get the question, you read the question, and 90% of the time sometimes you won't be able to understand the question, right? So understanding the question is also very important, and what exactly they're asking, because in the examination perspective, sometimes the answer may be right, means when you solve the question you may get an answer, and that might not be the right answer, but still the answer will be there in the options. So we end up marking those answers, and we end up giving a wrong answer to the question also. But IIBF examination, there won't be much of mind-boggling on your head. They're not going to ask you any typical kind of questions where they're going to test so much of your knowledge. They're going to only test your fundamentals, whether you're like strong in your fundamentals or not. So you should be clear with what exactly you're reading the question and what exactly they're asking, and it's going to be very easy for you to clear the examination. And when it comes to business mathematics, unlike the other modules we have, the syllabus whatever given in the textbook is like so very deep, right? That by this time you would have been already gone through it. It's like so very deep. They're going to ask you about linear programming, parabolic programming, linear equations, and so many other things, which from the examination perspective, absolutely they're not going to ask you those questions, because it's near to impossible solving those questions over a piece of paper, number one. And even with the calculators also, it's going to be very much calculative intensive kind of a question they're not going to ask you. So let me make this very clear for you. And the majority of the questions, what they're going to ask you in the examination is mostly about the bond valuation, which is very, very, very important. And from the examination perspective. And so whatever the statements I make tonight is all from the perspective of the examination. Let me make this very clear for you, because we're not trying to dodge any topics. The only thing we are trying to put it across is how we'll be able to clear the examination. All right. So I'll cut the briefing about this now. We're not going to take it much about the briefing part. So first and the foremost thing about today's session is about bond valuation. So I'm going to deal with one question, how the question is going to come. In that question itself, we're going to deal with three other different type of questions they're going to ask you, right? So give me a minute. Hope everybody able to see my screen, right? Can anybody confirm?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I hope everybody is clear with what is a bond, right? So I'm not going to need to talk about what is a bond. I'm going to talk about directly to the face value, right? Coupon rate. And these are the two things they're going to give you in the examination: the face value of the bond, the coupon rate of the bond, and the possible questions they're going to ask you is what is the current yield and what is the rate of return. Right? So let me deal with what the question be like. Right? Give me a minute. I hope everybody are clear with what is the current yield, right? Do I need to tell what is the current yield? What is the rate of return? If you want me to brush up on those topic also, kindly let me know. If in case you're lost it somewhere in the meaning to say whether you're not able to understand what I'm trying to explain you, please stop me then and there. So I'll be able to explain the concept briefly and we're going to move forward. Right? So I hope I'm going with the feeling that everybody do know what is the current yield and what is a rate of return. And I'll just try to give you the definition of what is a current yield. Current yield basically says that what is the return you get it only for the first 1 year. The return you get only for the first 1 year, right? Rate of return explains that what is the total return you receive over a period of time. It can be until the maturity or it can be until the bond is called. Here you have two kinds of bonds here: callable bond and non-callable bond. In the examination, they're going to give you this: callable bond, non-callable bond. See, callable bond and non-callable bond are exactly like a fixed deposit itself, meaning any bond which is kept until maturity is called as non-callable bond, and any bond which can be withdrawn any time during the maturity of the bond is called as a callable bond. For example, you are saving a deposit for 1 year. Until maturity, you're not supposed to close that bond. Take it like in other words, like a lock-in period. That's called as a non-callable bond. If in case you can close the bond anytime in between this 1 year, it is called as a callable bond. Right? And what is the rate of return you receive in the first year is what we call as a current yield. Right? What is the total return you get on the first return is called as a current yield. And next thing comes the yield to maturity or a total rate of return. Yield to maturity is the rate. Yield to maturity is a rate of the total return you receive over a period of time, right? And we have a coupon rate. Coupon rate is a fixed rate of interest received on the bond. And bonds are basically given under discounting, face value, and premium. Right? Discounting means, for example, if the face value is 100, the bond is currently being sold at 90 rupees. That's called the discounted bond. And face value is 100. If it is sold at 110 rupees, it's called as a premium. Right? And for example, if the coupon rate of return is 4%. Coupon rate of return is 4%. Or let's take it if it is like 6%. So for a better understanding. So total tenure of the bond is 3 years. Total tenure of the bond is 3 years. So over a period of time, why we have to invest in a bond is basically your investment is basically to get a good rate of returns, right? Anybody who invests in a deposit or anybody who invests in a bond is basically to get a rate of return that is technically called the interest rate. For example, if the face value of the bond is 100 rupees, every year you're getting a return of 160. This is the first year. Second year 60. And third year, you're going to get 60 plus your initial investment also they're going to give it back to you. So 160 you're going to get it back, right? So that's how it's basically the bond works out to be. In this bond is basically like a fixed deposit itself. You have to, but the only difference between fixed deposit and a bond is like fixed deposit is not linked to the market, bond is linked to the market. Fixed deposit is taken over the counter, means somebody comes with the cash, deposit the cash in the counter and they'll get the fixed deposit receipt. Unlike that, this is marked to the market, because it will be fluctuated based on the market rate. And fixed deposit is non-negotiable, bond is negotiable instrument. That's the only difference between a fixed deposit and a bond. So somebody talks about a bond, don't confuse yourself and don't try to think that it's a very huge concept. It's as simple as it is a fixed deposit. But the only thing is, like, if it is 1,000 rupees fixed deposit, it value itself is 1,000 rupees. If it is like, for example, if it is a bond, it can be taken at 90 also. Sometimes it can be taken at 110 rupees also. That is the only difference between a bond and a fixed deposit, right? So somebody asks you, if you want to buy a bond today, bond today, whether I can go for it. Means if somebody is selling this bond at 110 rupees, somebody's selling price of the bond is 110. Whether I can go ahead with this or not, whether I can whether I can invest in this bond or not, because usually the bond value is only 100 rupees. Whether I can go ahead and give 110 rupees and buy this bond or not, whether the value of this 110 rupees is the same after 3 years or not, right? So what we have to do, we have to find the present value of the bond, right? Present value of the bond will be calculated. I think you all know what is the present value and what is the future value, right? Present value and a discounting factor. Discounting factor is nothing but, oops, okay, 1 second. I'll get you the whiteboard. Everybody able to view the whiteboard, right? Kindly anybody confirm?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
If anybody feels that something we are going a bit faster than what you feel, kindly stop me for if you are not clear with any of the topic, right? Unless until you guys be quiet, I have a feeling that I'm going in the right direction, right? So discounting factor is gonna be 1 plus r to the power of n, right? If in case if it is a present value, you have to divide the future value by 1 plus r whole to the power of n. If it is a future value, you have to multiply your present value plus 1 plus r whole to the power of n. I think you're all clear with this concept, right? If I'm not wrong. So we're going to apply the same thing here today, right? And here, usually somebody asks, what is a discounting interest rate? Discounting interest rate. In the examination, they may not give you directly a discounting interest rate sometimes, but they'll give you a phrase or they'll give you a statement saying that the interest rate on a risk-free rate of a risk-free bond or a government security is somewhere around 5%. They will mention these wordings. Try to remember this. The interest rate on a risk-free rate of return bond or a government security bond is 5% or 5.6% or 7%. They'll mention like this. They'll never tell you directly this is a discount your future value or a present value with this particular rate of interest. So when they're mentioning the risk-free rate of interest or a government security rate of interest, you always have to click this in your mind saying that, yes, this is the rate of return which I have to discount my future value or the present value, right? And next thing is the coupon rate. Don't confuse your coupon rate with your rate of return interest rate or a current real rate of interest rate or any other interest rate. They're mentioning coupon rate, or the other words for coupon rate like fixed income returns or a coupon rate. Or sometimes what they'll say is like 100 rupees face value and 60 rupees is yearly return. So when they mention that yearly return of 60 rupees, that you have to technically feel in your mind that the coupon rate is 6%, right? Coupon rate is 6%. So once we calculate this, your yearly rate of return is 60 divided by 1 plus, here R means R percentage. R means R percentage to the power of first year. Right? So this is the first year rate of interest. Second year, 60 by 1 plus 5%. 5% is 0.05. Don't take in the absolute terms. Always take in the percentage terms. This is the second year. And third year, it's going to be 160.
Sorry to disturb you, sir. Instead of putting it in Excel, can you please write it down in the
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear. Dinesh, what were you saying?
So instead of putting it in Excel, if you put it in the wordings, or if you put it in WordPad, it is easy for us to.
You want it in a WordPad? Okay, fine, good. Okay, I'll do that. I'll put it in the whiteboard. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, as you say. All right. Okay, fine. So technically what we're trying to do is like first year, you have to bear with my writing here because I'm trying to do with the cursor, right? And second year, it's 60. Third year, it's going to be 160, right? So we are discounting rate of return. Discounting interest rate, sorry. Discounting interest rate is 5%, right? So what we're doing is like here, the formula is going to be present value is equal to future income by 1 plus R is nothing but 5% to the power of 1. This is for the first year. Plus second year, 1 plus 5% to the power of 2. And third year, 160 plus, here 160 comes like your coupon income as well as your initial investment also comes here. 1 plus 5 to the power of 3. Clear everybody till here? Can anybody confirm?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes,
Good.
sir.
All right. So next comes here. So if anybody can, you want the calculation to be done on your own or you want me to do it on the Excel? How you guys want it?
No, sir, we'll do it, sir. We'll do it our own, sir.
You guys are going to do it on your own, right? So I know you to go with the calculation part, isn't it not?
Not required, sir. We need this steps and
Okay.
Okay, perfect. That sounds good. Okay, what I'll do is like calculation, I'll do it in the Excel sheet. I'm not going to
Yes, sir.
ask
Yeah,
you to
yeah.
calculate. So what
Yes,
we'll
sir.
do is like, and I'll try to explain it on the whiteboard again. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is 160 divided by 1 plus cent to the power of so total is coming to total it's coming to 249.77. Total income is 280 for a period of time. So the rate of return is like you're getting around, okay, here. So the present value is over a period of time you're getting around 249. Okay, actual return Means like absolute return is 280. Right? Absolute return is 280. So it is still a profitable venture. So you can still go ahead and invest in this particular bond. Right? So, and whenever you're calculating, it's always important. 99% they're not going to ask you anything regarding your decision making, whether you'll invest in this bond or not invest in this bond. Those kind of questions they may not ask you, but the only questions they're going to ask you about your present value, future value, and current yield. There's a very one important thing is like, what is the current yield? So current yield will be like, current yield is like first year, what is your rate of return? First year, your in return. First year return is how much? 60 rupees, right? And what is your initial investment? Is 100. So whenever anybody is talking about your, anybody is talking about current yield will come only for 1 year. This you have to think, or you have to, even if you by heart it, I'm fine. Even if you memorize it, it's fine. Otherwise you understand the concept and you go ahead with this also, I'm fine. But current yield is only for the first 1 year. So you have to bifurcate the question like this: what is the income I'm receiving at the end of first year, and what is your initial investment? What first year return on the income on your initial investment? Sometimes what happens is like the bond will be sold at a premium. That I'll tell you. Premium. Premium means what? As I told you, more than the face value. Premium means more than the face value, means 110 rupees. Right? Face value is 100 rupees. Discount value 90 rupees. So when somebody is asking that, what will be the current yield on that particular bond, and the question will be asked like, the current selling price of the bond is rupees 110 with a coupon interest of 6%. What will be your current yield? So this will be the question like this, right? The current selling price of the bond is 110 rupees with a coupon interest rate of 6%. What will be your current yield? They will never mention this is a face value, this is a premium bond. If they are not mentioning anything about the value of the bond, that means technically it's 100 rupees. Mark these things, guys. If it is not mentioned anywhere in the question, it means you have to equate the face value of the bond as 100 rupees. If they're telling that if it is selling at a selling price of the bond is 110, means it's actually selling at a premium. The face value of the bond is only 100 rupees. And the coupon interest anyway, it is mentioned as 6%. Right? So the first year income here, it is 60 rupees, 60 rupees, 60 rupees only. In all the three cases, it's 60 rupees only. So what will be the current yield? I'll come to the whiteboard back again. So what we're trying to tell you here is like, premium bond is 110. Discount. Okay, first we'll talk about the premium bond, then we'll talk about the rest. So first year coupon is 60. Current yield will be 60 by 110 into 100. Right? So here it will be 60 by 110 into 100. It's sorry, 60 by, in percentage wise, It's like a very high current yield, but yeah, it's like almost 54% of the current yield it is showing, but that's fine.
Correct. Sir,
So,
the face value should be 1,000.
sorry?
No,
Face
sir.
value should be
Actually, if
1,000.
it is 100 means current that 60 rupees should be 6 rupees, sir.
Sir, face value
Then
should be
only,
1,000
Actually, it
here.
should be 6 only. I'm sorry, it should be 6
yes,
only.
sir.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That is
sir.
the reason
Then
it's
only
showing
it
high.
comes, it's a right.
Yeah, I'm tracking in terms of 1,000 rupees. That's the reason it has come higher side. So it's going to be 5.45%, right? So its current yield is going to be 5.45%. So when we are doing the same thing for the face value of 100 rupees, it's going to be 6 by 100. If it is face value, it's equal to the coupon rate itself. Right? And if it is a discounted value, it is even more. It is 6 by 90 into 100. It's going to be 6.66%. Getting it means when you are buying a bond at a premium value, your return current yield will be lesser. I think you always know the inverse relationship between the interest rate and the return on the bond, if I'm not wrong, right? The pricing of the bond. If the interest rate is higher, the price of the bond is lesser and vice versa. So this you have to remember. So this is basically the current yield of the bond, right? Am I clear till now? Any questions? Anybody, please? Any questions you are free to ask, so we'll be able to clear and move forward.
Sir, please explain again.
Okay. Which part you want me to explain? You want me to explain the current yield, ma'am, or what do you want me to explain?
Current yield only.
All right. See, current. You understood what is a premium bond and what is a discounted bond?
Yes, sir.
All right. So current yield is nothing but what income you receive at the end of the first year against your initial investment. So let me write the formula like this. Current yield is nothing but income at the end of first year upon initial investment. So when it comes to, you understood this income at the end of first year means technically your coupon rate. Your coupon income is nothing but your 6 rupees at the end of the year, and your initial investment is 110 rupees. So whatever the income you receive at the end of the first year against your initial investment is what we called as a current yield. Current yield is nothing but the income you receive at the end of 1 year against your initial investment. That's it. It's as simple as it. How much it goes out and whatever you're getting in. Means initially you're paying 110 rupees, and at the end of the year you're receiving 6 rupees, right? So 6 rupees upon your 110 gives you the current yield. So if your current yield is a current yield, but definitely never gives you the actual picture of the bond. That is a different case altogether. But in the examination, they'll ask you only to calculate the current yield. So you have to get in the question at the end of the first year, whatever income you're getting against your initial investment is what you're going to give you the current yield. Okay. You want me to explain once again? I'm fine. If you have to tell me now. Nandini Suresh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're fine, or you want me to explain once again?
Yes, sir. I'm okay. I'm okay.
No, I think you are the one who raised the question,
No,
right?
it's
If I'm
like,
not wrong.
yes, the person like yes has raised the question.
I'm sorry, you're not audible, ma'am. What
The
is it?
person named
Sir, I am
yes. Yes.
Sarita.
Okay, I'm sorry. Like whoever raised this explanation, did you get this, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So next comes another important thing is like rate of return. Rate of return. Rate of return. Initially, we are talking about current yield is just one of the first of 1 year, and the rate of return is nothing but for the complete year, when the complete tenure of the bond. Complete tenure of the bond, whatever you are receiving against your initial investment. Complete tenure of the bond, whatever you are receiving against the initial investment is what we call the rate of return. Correct? So when you're calculating the rate of return, the rate of return formula is nothing but rate of return is nothing but rate of return. Rate of return is nothing but coupon income I think everybody by this time do know what is a coupon income, right? Plus price change we'll talk about what is a price change divided by your investment. So next comes how the question is going to be asked. How the question is going to be asked. It's very simple. So the question they're going to ask you, the face value of the bond is 1,000, right? And coupon interest is nothing but 6%, right? Today's price is nothing but 1010, right? Till now so the today's price is this much, and now they ask you what is the rate of return at the end of first year, because we are only technically thinking that is only a one year bond, right? And selling price at the end of first year is 1020. Let's take like this. Selling price at the end of first year is nothing but 1020. So let's coming back. So you all understood this formula. Rate of return is nothing but coupon income plus price change divided by initial investment, right? So this is what you have to calculate right now. So what is the face value of the bond? Is 1,000. Coupon income is nothing but 60. Coupon income is 60. Your initial investment is equal to 1010, right? End of first year is equal to 1020, means the selling price of the bond, and price change is equal to 1020 minus 1010. $1020 minus 1010 is nothing but 10 change in price. Okay, so once we apply in substitute the same thing, so it's gonna be 60 it's gonna be 60 plus price change is going to be 10 divided by your initial investment is 1010. So your rate of return is going to be simply 70 by 1010. If you talk about this in percentage terms, it's going to be 6.93%. This is going to be your rate of return. When you're talking about current yield here, your current yield is only 5.45%, right? It's say similar values. It's zero the difference, but it's almost a similar values. But here the rate of return, actual rate of return at the end of 1 year is going to be 6.93 because there was a premium on the bond. There's a premium on the discount. Sorry, there's a premium on the bond, right? So this is how you calculate the rate of return on a bond, right? Any questions, guys? Any questions?
So then what is the difference between current yield and rate of return, sir? Both.
See, okay, that's a good question. That's a very good question. See, current yield here, we are talking at the end of only 1 year. For example, this is over a period of 2 years. Let's take over a period of 2 years. So over a period of 2 years, if you're calculating the income, first year again going to get 60, second year you're going to get 1060, right? So total coupon income plus price change. Here the coupon income is nothing but 60, again 60, right? That's a coupon income. Okay, let me put it in the whiteboard. So if it's, for example, if you're taking for 2 years, here it's going to be 60 plus 60. This is going to be the coupon income plus. Here we have to take the present value also again. If in case you're talking about the rate of return for 2 years, we're going to take the present value. Coupon income plus and price change is 10 against your initial investment. If you're not considering the time value of money here, this is going to be the actual raw formula. But from the examination, you always need to take the present value of the bond also. For example, let me take it. Let me give a better example now. That's a good question. Okay, so a 6-year coupon bond. 6-year coupon bond. Okay, 6-year coupon bond, right? And okay, let's not take 6 year. It's going to be too much for you guys. I'll take a 3-year coupon bond. 3-year coupon bond, right? And selling price of the bond is nothing but same. We'll take it as 1010, right? Selling price and coupon rate is again 6%. Coupon rate will take it as 6%. And we'll take discounting at 4%. Sometimes in the examination, if in case discounting is not given, they'll mention something called YTM. We'll talk what is YTM, yield to maturity. What is that in next few minutes? But as of now, we're talking only about the, discounting at 4%, right? Discounting at 4%. So for the first 3 years coupon bond, first year receiving 60, second year receiving 60, third year receiving 1060, right? Here, if in case somebody asks you what is the total rate of return on the bond is, you have to calculate all the 3 years present value, all the 3 years present value, right? We have to calculate 3 years present value, means 60 by 1 plus 4% to the power of 1 plus 60 by 1 plus 4 to the power of 2 plus 1060 by 1 plus 4 to the power of 3, right? For all the 3 years, you have to calculate. You have to first calculate the present value, right? And then you'll get some value, right? You'll get some value. So the rate of return is going to be the rate of return is going to be, coupon is 60 plus whatever the value you get there, whatever the present value of the complete tenure of the bond, present value of the complete tenure of the bond minus present value of the, means like whatever the worth of the bond, whatever the worth of the bond as of today we are calculating, what is the total worth of the bond as of today, we have to calculate, plus your initial investment, plus your initial investment. I'm sorry. Minus what is the selling price? Selling price by your initial investment. Okay. Coupon rate plus your present value of the total tenure of the bond minus your initial investment means what is the worth, what is the worth of the selling price of the bond by your initial investment. Sometimes your selling price and the initial investment will be the same. Selling price and the initial investment will be the same. So once you substitute this in your this thing, I'll try to solve that for you guys. So once we calculate the present value here, 60 by 1 plus 4% the power of 1 right, and the other one is, I hope you guys not going to take anything about the numericals. We're just trying to explain you the concept and the examination. So hope you guys will be able to calculate your formulas, because the same formula I'm applying here means like coupon rate plus 1 plus 4% is your interest rate. 4% is your interest rate to the power of 2 for the second year. And then for the third year, 1060 divided by 1 plus 4% to the power of P, right? So total worth of the bond today means present value is nothing but 1055.50. 1055.50. This is the present worth of the bond as of today. So when you're calculating this, so what you're going to do, 60 plus 1055, present value means your bond, plus your initial investment by initial investment. Here what I'm talking initial investment means price change, the present value of the bond today minus your initial investment, because that's an outflow. This is going to be the inflow present value by your initial investment is nothing but your outflow. So this becomes your total rate of return. See, it's as simple as it is, guys. See, coupon income is 60 rupees is you're receiving regularly. So you're shelling out some money today, because whatever you're talking is only for today. Whatever the return you're calculating is only for today. So you're calculating it 1055 is going to be the future income value as of today, right? You're going to say 60 plus the price change is 1055 minus 1010 divided by 1010. Somewhere I have missed it. Yes. One bracket change. So the total rate of return is 10.40%. Right? The total rate of return is 10.40%. But somebody asks me what is the current yield of this particular bond. Simply I'm going to say 60 the first year divided by your initial investment is 1010. So which gives a better picture? Your total return on the bond or your current yield? So current yield will give you a deceiving picture. Current yield will never give you a proper clarity on the picture, saying that Okay, current yield is only 5.94% is end of first year. So that will not give you a proper picture. But against initial investment, but when you calculate the total return on the bond, your total return on the bond is going to be 10.40%, which is a good percentage more than your coupon rate of interest. So it's good for your investment. So that's how you're going to take your investment decision. But decision making, they're not going to ask you in the examination. They're going to only ask you to calculate the rate of return, or they're going to ask you about your current yield. Right? Clear till now?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's great. So next comes in the examination, sometimes they're going to ask you, they'll not ask you to calculate the YTM, because YTM calculation is bit on a got a calculated intensive thing, because it gives a lot of iteration. It always gives you a lot of iteration. Iteration means like what do you call what exact layman language of an iteration is basically so many trials and error you have to, like a trial and error method only you'll be able to give an YTM. So because the YTM is basically the rate of interest. YTM is nothing but is defined as a discount rate which makes the present value of the bond payments equal to its price. See, what is the present value of the bond which makes means what is the ideal price, means no loss no lane guys of a price, whatever is the discount rate at which we can make which we can make the bond payment equal to its price. So in the examination somebody is saying the YTM of the bond is nothing but that bond, that discount, that rate of interest is what you have to discount the bond. Right? If somebody is saying that the YTM of the bond means that rate of interest you have to pick to discount that particular bond. Here I'm directly giving you 4% as a discounting rate, so you don't have any issue. Instead of discounting, if I'm saying YTM is 4%, you have to take the discounting rate as 4%. This they'll definitely ask you in the question, in the examination. So rate of return and as well as current yield they may ask you, and YTM, to calculate YTM they'll never ask you, but instead of that they'll mention that YTM is the discount rate. I mean to say that the YTM of the particular bond is so much, right? These are the few numericals. 95% of the time this is what they're going to ask you in the examination. Beyond this, for a bond valuation, they'll not go further. Right? In this, we have covered so many things. What is the present value? What is the future value? How we have to check the face value of the bond? What is the premium of the bond? What is the discounting of the bond? What is the current yield? What is the rate of return? And how the interest rates moves towards the bond pricing and the interest rates and the bond pricing, and what is an YTM? Right? So these things you have to remember, because theoretical questions they might ask you in this bond valuation particularly, they'll definitely ask you a numerical from this. So I hope it's very easy to score, right? And there will not be much of complications. They'll not complicate the question much. They'll always give you a direct numerical. The only thing you have to do is like you have to identify the correct numbers and you have to discount it properly, right? I hope it adds some value to your preparation as of now. Right. So if you have any questions, you have just 1 minute time, you can just put it across, and otherwise we'll move forward.
So can you provide any example for future value?
I'm sorry?
Numerical.
Sanjay,
Numerical for future value.
Sanjay, your voice is too feeble. Can you be a little more audible?
Sir, one more example for future value.
Future value?
Yes, sir.
Example. Example in the sense?
Numerical.
Oh, you want a numerical? Okay. All right. Okay. So here, if in case, we'll talk about a 1 year bond. Okay, let me put it on the whiteboard. Maybe it will add better things for you. Okay, 1 second. Okay. So, present value of the bond is somewhere around 1,000 rupees. Coupon is 60. Tenure is, say for example, 2 years, right? And YTM or discounting rate is around 5%. Okay. What will be the value of the bond? What will be the value of the bond after 2 years? Is what technically the question they're gonna ask you, right? Usually, this kind of questions, 90% of the time they may not ask, but yeah, as you ask me, what will be the future value? So, what will be the future value of the bond? So here, basically the discounting factor is nothing but 1 plus r raised to the power of n, raised to the power of n, right? So this is basically the discounting factor. Here we have divided it, for example, 60 first year coupon. Today you're not receiving because they're all future incomes, right? So today you're buying it 1,000 rupees, right? At the end of 3 years, what is the future value? It's as simple as it is. Means the discounting rate is going to be 1 plus, what is the rate of YTM I have given? It's 5%. 5% directly at the end of third year. Right? And 1,000 into okay, 1157.63. Is that what will your future value of your initial investment you made after 3 years? Okay, just for a math purpose, it's going to be the future value. For example, if the selling price of the bond, if somebody says the selling price, give me a minute, excuse me. You need to excuse me for this domestic noises. Right, this is going to be 1157.63. And if the selling price of the bond, for example, if it is like somewhere around 1010, you can still go for it. Means like you're getting a better return. Just on the face value, you're getting a return on 1157.63, right? Along with initially, you will get the coupon payments also. So if in the case somebody is asking you a present value, you're going to divide by the discounting factor. If somebody is asking you a future value, you have to multiply with the discounting factor. Based on that, you're going to make your investment decision, right? What future value is nothing but what 1,000 rupees value today is after 3 years, is what we have done to just now here. Today's 1,000 rupees value is 1157.63. For example, at the end of 3 years, how much you're getting here? 1055.50. At the end of 3 years, 1055.50 is what you are getting at the end of 3 years, based on the discounting factor. But when you are going with the future value, 1,000 rupees today is going to value 1157.6, is still a favorable investment for you to do it. So that's how you're going to make your investment decisions. Because today you have 1,000 rupees in your hand. Somebody says the same 1,000 rupees, what will be the value of this 1,000 rupees tomorrow, after 3 years? Future value. Or the income you're going to receive, future value. For example, if you're receiving, somebody is receiving 1157.63 in future, that is only valued 1,000 rupees today. So the value of money keeps fluctuating. So that's the reason we come up with this future value and present value. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I hope Sanjay Kumar, I clear your questions. So any other questions, guys? Otherwise, we'll move to the next topic.
Yes, sir.
Okay, give me a minute. I'll just grab some water and come. Okay. So the next important topic from the examination perspective, and most of the students who doesn't mostly hate, right, because of this scatter diagrams, statistics. Statistics for most of the people is an off topic for them. I mean to say they just get disconnected with the topic. But when you actually look into the stats, it's mostly it's mostly what font size you want me to increase, Miss Sujata? I think this is the you know I think this is more visible, right? For Excel, okay. Okay. I think this is much better. Okay. So next important topic is it's gonna be stats. We're gonna talk something about stats, right? In stats, we're gonna talk about from the examination perspective, variance. Okay, let me get the questions from the students. Like, what topic you want me to cover? Because most of the time you might have already started your preparation, right? Let me ask you one very simple question. What is the most challenging topic for you when it comes to the stats? Because stats in this CAB also, stats is just like an ocean. They have given so much of information. I'm going to definitely deal what are the questions they're going to ask you. But if there any blockage for you guys when going through the textbook or going through the previous classes is something you guys, what happens is like usually stats, somewhere some point you get lost after going through the sample. You may get confused with this. What is a sample? What is a population? What is a small and what is a mu? These are so many of representations of this normal thing. It actually makes you feel lost. So I want to just know where exactly you're facing a challenge when it comes to stats, because I'm going to give you the raw formulas and how you're going to substitute in those formulas and how you're going to clear in the examination. I'm definitely going to explain it to you in the next 40 to 50 minutes. But before that, is there anything that is actually bothering you much when it comes to the preparation? You can just let me know.
Sir, this is Dinesh here.
Yes.
Sir, we need to know about the questions in standard deviations, sir, like how to...
Okay, standard deviation is one topic. Any other topic? Standard deviation, I'm going to explain you. Any other topic? Standard deviation, I'm going to ask you. Standard deviation is represented by the sigma. So that also will let you know. Any other? Jishna, madam, I think you are the one of the most experienced in this group. Okay, can you say something?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, we'll talk about standard deviation. We'll talk about mean. We'll talk about standard deviation. We'll talk about variance. We'll talk about correlation, right? And we'll talk about standard error. These are the 5 topics, 5 questions. Mark it, you're gonna get it. And how they're gonna give it to you? Maybe in one question they may ask you, or they're gonna ask in multiple questions. It's up to the examiner, because usually IBPS is what central limit theorem. They're gonna ask you one question from central limit theorem every point of time. What is the minimum sample size for a population, or a minimum sample size for a sample to attain a normal distribution is 30. This question is a stock question for IIBF. Every question they're gonna ask you this. Central limit theorem is all about when you take a sample, when it is going to attain a normal distribution, is the sample size should be at least 30. This one property of a central limit theorem you have to remember, memorize by heart, whatever terminologies you use it. The 30 question is definitely going to ask you in the examination. So whenever they come up with this question, mark it 30, right? Central limit theorem also I'm going to explain to you in brief. But before that, we're going to talk about first about mean. We'll talk about variance. We'll talk about standard deviation, and so on. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, I'm just trying to take one sample. Okay, this let's put the sample again. Okay, I think everybody can see the screen, right? I think let's make it bigger. Okay, so the first thing we are going to talk about is the terminology, so the representations. Let me put it more clear. We'll talk about mean. Okay, not mean. We'll talk about population. Is represented by n. Sample.
Small n.
Thank you very much. Very good. Mean of population. Anybody help me out?
Mu.
Very good. And mean of sample?
X bar.
X bar.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. And next one is variance. Representation.
Sigma.
Anybody?
R square.
R.
R.
R or sigma square also. Standard deviation. Sigma. Standard deviation of the sample. Sigma excess bar. This is a population. This is the sample. If you guys are clear with this terminologies, the job is going to be very much easy, right? And next comes, let's go ahead and do one simple math, right? This is a sample. Sample is small n is going to be 7. We don't know what is a population. And we're going to talk about mean. I think you guys all know what is a mean. And we talk about variance. We'll talk about standard deviation. Okay. Let's talk about first what is a mean. Mean is nothing but total sum by 7, right? Otherwise, if in case Excel I'm talking about, it's gonna be, oops, I'm sorry, sum yes, okay. And variance, it's gonna be, variance is nothing but variance. Anybody can help me how we calculate the variance? X minus?
X bar. Mean.
Very good. X minus.
X bar.
Right? This is gonna be this thing. But why we don't go with variance? Anybody can tell me what is the reason behind why we don't go ahead with the variance part? I think somebody's mic, Vasu. I think so. Udar Gudi. Can you mute your mic? All right. Thank you. So whenever somebody talks about why we don't talk about variance, in the sense when you talk about variance, the total sum of the variance is going to be, if you are subtracting the mean, it has to come to 0. X minus x bar has to come to 0. If in case x minus x bar is not coming to 0, means your math is somewhere wrong. So once you have to cross verify it, x minus x bar has to come to 0. So that's the reason what we do is like to remove this negative effect, what we're going to do is like we're going to square it. Right? We're going to square it. All clear till here? Anybody have any questions? I think you guys might not have got it what I'm trying to do. Anybody? Or you want me to tell you guys once again?
You can continue, sir.
You guys lost it or you got it?
You can continue, sir.
Okay, you can continue. Okay, fine. So x minus x bar. So to remove that, what do you call x minus x bar to the power of by n. So we're going to take this average, the mean. Average. If you take the mean, average is nothing but the mean, right? To remove the square effect. Getting it? That's going to be the standard deviation. And standard deviation is always unitless. You have to remember that standard deviation is always unitless. I want to give you. So sometimes they're going to give you the variance of that particular sample. Once they give you the variance of that particular sample, they'll ask you to just go ahead and calculate the standard deviation. So you just need to square root that. Just need to square root that. Nothing more than that. Just need to square root that. And
sir, like mean, please put for variance and standard deviation, what is the value? In column
sorry?
In column I, you have put mean value 64.51143. Please put variance value and please put standard deviation value, sir.
Oh, like that. Okay. Variance is here itself is going to be 397.67 and standard deviation is 19.94. Right? Yes, that's it. Okay.
So ST's formula sigma x minus x bar whole square divided by n.
See, I'll write it for you. See, for example, you all know mean is equal to total sample by n. You all know that, right? So here variance is gonna be x minus x bar whole square by n sigma. Oops, one second. It's gonna be x minus x bar whole square by n sigma, sum of x minus x bar whole square by n, right? And STD is equal to square root of x minus x bar whole square by n sigma. You clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's perfect. So that's how we're going to talk about the standard deviation, variance, and whatever mean, right? So now we are going to talk about covariance and correlation. Covariance and correlation. See, variance is only one sample. Whatever the variance is like, whatever the variance is nothing but whatever the volatility, whatever the variation in that particular, for example, somebody is talking about a share value over a period of 1 year. Every day the share value changes. Share value average, if it is taking, so average share value is around 64 rupees per particular bank, SBI take it. Just for example, the average value, or the average share value of SBI over a period of 365 days is 64 rupees. Let's take an example like that. Okay, I'm trying to explain you from the bank perspective, so you'll be able to have a better visualization of it. So in over 365 days, the average value is only 64 rupees. So you're not getting a proper idea how much volatility is there. For example, someday it can go to 100, someday it can go to 200, someday it can go to like 10 rupees. We never know. Means average will never give you an exact picture how much variation is going, right? How much variation is going. So volatility, when you're talking about volatility or a variance, what you're doing is like whatever the variation it has on every day from the mean is around 64 rupees you're talking about. So one day it is 100 rupees, means plus 36 rupees it has gone up. Some day it is like 60 rupees, it's like -4 it has gone to. So that variation, how much it is there over a period of 360 days, we're calculating, the total average again comes to 0. So what we're trying to do is like you squared it and you have square rooted it. Means like you're just doing a math adjustment, nothing more than that. You're doing a math adjustment. So what happens here is like, here we got a standard deviation of 19 rupees. So what the volatility in that particular share is maximum plus or minus 19 rupees only. Plus or minus 19 rupees only. Means any point of day, it has either gone down to 19 rupees or it has gone up to 19 rupees. Not more than that. The interpretation of the data we are talking about is like at any point of time, it has maximum gone to 19 rupees or minus 19 rupees or plus 19 rupees. Not more than that. Right? So that's how the standard deviation is nothing but standard deviation from the mean. On an average, a particular share has not gone up more than minus 19 rupees or a plus 19 rupees from the mean. So if it is like going around like 60, 70 rupees, means like it's too risky. It's lesser to the 0, means like lesser to say for example 10 rupees, 5 rupees, 6 rupees, means it's a less volatile kind of a share. So that's how it actually goes up with, right? So when you're talking about the variance and the standard deviation, is like within the one share only, within the one sample only. The next comes, we're talking about covariance and correlation. Here the meaning of co means between two. The meaning of co means between two. Means like between two samples. Between two samples. Because this, again I'm taking the same sample. Sample 1 and sample 2. Why we have to take a sample 1 and sample 2? Why we need a correlation or a correlation or a covariance or whatever? Why we need two samples? Why we have to talk about it? Means it's nothing but, for example, the price of one share is anywhere related to the share of another price. When it comes to banking shares are technically dependent on what all shares. What all shares are actually affecting the banking shares. because basically these kind of correlation and covariance are basically for the investment market. See, anybody in this world wants to make money. All these things, all these interpretations have come from the concept of making money. I think previously everybody would have followed the news. One move from Cristiano Ronaldo has got down the had made the capital loss for Coca-Cola for almost $1.6 billion, if I'm not wrong with the number, right? Almost near $2 billion they lost just for taking off the bottle from the table of in the press conference from Cristiano Ronaldo. This is nobody can even predict it. Nobody can even predict it that because of that one move. I think most of the people do follow football in Kerala. Because of that one move, almost like capital loss for Coca-Cola is almost like $1.6 billion. Can anybody even imagine that? So all these numbers, examination or interpretation is only done whether how much of money we can put in the share market and how much of returns we are going to get it. Is there any correlation? Means, for example, automobiles. Can anything do with the share market prices of the bank shares, right? Any budget, privatization news, can anything do with the share market of the PSU banks, or any government decisions, any other decisions made by the government or any other investors has any impact on the share market? Is what we basically do with the covariance or correlation. What is the relation between two different shares, right? So we are taking two samples here. So somebody is coming and asking you to calculate the covariance and correlation is what we are going to do right now, right? So here, covariance and correlation. So first we are going to talk about the mean of sample A. Mean of sample A is nothing but, I think everybody do know how to calculate the mean, right? If I'm not wrong, 64.57. Mean of sample B is nothing but 61. Okay, guys, anybody lost in between, kindly stop me. If in case everybody keeps quiet, I have a feeling that you're all following. I know it's almost like 9:30 in the evening. You all must be tired at office. I hope nobody is feeling sleepy with the math and numbers we're dealing with. I think everybody are awake. Let me first confirm that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. Because usually afternoon shifts and the late evening shifts, we usually call them as a graveyard shifts, especially for the training, right? So anyway, let's be very quick, okay? So mean of the sample B, and next thing what we are going to talk about is X mean, X minus X bar. I'll put a cap on this, X minus X bar. So it's going to be X minus X bar.
Sir, people are asking us to increase the font size of the.
Yes. Hold on. You guys fine with it now?
Yes, sir.
I hope you guys understood what I did now. X minus mean, X bar, is what I'm going to get this. Again, second thing is like 44 minus 64.57 is what the math I'm going to get here, right? So the sample B is like Y minus Y bar. So it's nothing but Y minus Y bar. I plead you guys not to focus anything on the Excel, because you have nothing to do with the Excel. Excel is only for your understanding, right? So when I told you guys whether your calculation is right or wrong, if you add up all these values, you should get 0. You see average 0. So X minus X bar and Y minus Y bar is correct. So if you add up to all these X minus X bar, it's coming to 0.00. Means the math is correct. So now we are going to do what? X minus X bar square to remove the effect of the negative effect. We are making it 0, right? And again, y minus y bar square, same. We're going to make it a square. So now comes the formula of covariance. Covariance. What is a formula for covariance? So covariance formula. Covariance is equal to x minus x bar into y minus y bar divided by n. Okay, x minus x bar into y minus y bar divided by n. Okay, so here it's gonna be, let's do the multiplication part. I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry, I did a mistake here, I'm sorry. Here we don't require square. Why, you know? Because the negative effect won't be there here. I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm sorry. This x minus x bar and y minus y bar squaring is not required. Reason, when you multiply this minus and minus, you will remove the square effect. So the square effect is always there. If it is only a variance, you require to square it. If it is a covariance, you don't need to square it. So here it's going to be x minus x bar into y minus y bar. So it's going to be this. So you remove, this is going to be the effect of it. So anyway, this is not going to be 0. See, average, it's going to see 128.142. It's not going to be 0. So this is correct. So it's going to be sum of all these divided by how much? What's the sample size? 7, right? See, 128.143. So that's going to be your covariance. That's going to be your covariance. Right? That's going to be your covariance. So what is going to be your correlation? Everybody clear till here? Guys have to be quicker, guys, because we have another.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So next going to be the correlation. Next going to be the correlation. This formula is very important, guys. You have to remember covariance of x and y by standard deviation of x and standard deviation of y. Covariance is there already, and the only thing you have to calculate here is going to be standard deviation of x and standard deviation of y. Standard deviation of x we already know. It's going to be 19.94, right? Here we have already calculated the standard deviation. So we're going to calculate the standard deviation of sample B also. So the variance, it's going to be, again, n is equal to 7. Mean is going to be 61. 61. Variance is going to be simple. X minus x bar means x minus variance so now we have to remove the square effect. We're going to square this. Now we're going to, average it, average of this and square root of 7.70. So the variance is going to be 59.42 and STD is going to be 7.70. Anybody have any questions here? I know I have gone a bit faster than normal because I'm thinking that the sample A and sample B are like the same. Anybody have any questions? I can go a bit slower also. You guys fine?
No, sir, this is correct.
You're fine,
Correct,
right, Dinesh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. That's great. Okay, so now you guys understood this. This is standard deviation of sample A. Sorry, standard deviation of sample A. Standard deviation of sample B. Okay, perfect. So now we are going to calculate. Here the formula is going to be covariance of x and y is how much? Covariance of x and y. Here it is 128.143. 128.143 by standard deviation is how much? 19.94. 19.94 multiplied by 7.70. Right? So it's nothing but correlation. It's gonna be 128 divided by 19.94 multiplied by 7.70. So 0.83, right? 0.83. Here the interpretation is going to be, and you always need to remember one thing when it comes to correlation. The important thumb rule is correlation always lies between -1 to +1. If it is more than 1 or more, it is like somewhere around 19, 20, you're getting it, means your calculation is somewhere wrong, right? If in the examination it is showing anything more than 1, you always need to remember that it is your math is wrong. So you always need to remember that your coefficient of correlation is also the same. The coefficient of correlation always lies between -1 and +1. If it is nearer to 1, means they have a very strong positive correlation. If it is nearer to minus, it has a very strong inverse relationship. Means one sample goes up, other sample comes down. If it is one sample goes up, other samples also goes up, is a positive correlation, right? This important rule of thumb you have to remember. And if it is somewhere near to 0, you have to remember that there is no correlation between the two samples, right? And if in case in the examination somebody coming and ask you what is the standard error of the mean, this is a very normal question. It's like usual question they're going to ask you. What is a standard error of the mean? Is nothing by sigma by root n, right? Sigma is the standard deviation of the sample and root n is the sample size. This is going to be the standard error, right? If it is population standard, they're asking you sigma by capital root n. So this you have to remember, guys, right? Regular.
Sir, what is the difference between capital root n and small root n, sir?
As simple as it is. Small root n is a sample size, capital root n is a population size. If they're asking if they're asking you the standard error of the mean of the sample, you divide by the sample size. If they're asking about the population, you divide by the population size, right? I hope that is self-explanatory, I believe, right? And somebody is asking about the central limit theorem, right? Central limit theorem, you have, as I told you earlier, one important thing is like, you need to talk about normal distribution, right? You need to talk about normal distribution. Now, why normal distribution is so, what do you mean, most widely used thing in the statistics world is because the only one reason is like more than 65% of the sample lies around the mean. Okay, let me put it once again. 65% of the sample lies around the mean. That's the reason any sample, if it is following a normal distribution, it is more easy to draw the conclusions from the sample about the population. Let me give you a very simple example. For example, during the election surveys, right? It's impossible for all of us to go to all the 1.3 billion population in India to ask which party they're going to vote for. It's near to impossible anybody is going to do that. So what they're going to do it, they're going to go ahead and take a random sampling of say around 50,000, 60,000, nearly 1 lakh, and they're going to gather the information from them, and they're going to set the mood of the nation. Okay, this party is going to win. And if in case you see when they were declaring the when they were declaring the results of the exit polls, they always mention the sample size also. It's a sample of 1 lakh people, 2 lakh people, 3 lakh people. Based on that only, they're going to draw the conclusion from a sample to define the size of the population or to set the mood of the population, right? So it's as simple as it is. So next, number 2 is like why we are talking about normal distribution. In the sense, normal distribution average number is actually gives you, for example, in a school you have people like around 90% of the people have passed in the examination. So normal distribution means how, and the average marks in the school is around maybe 80 marks, and how many people are around this 80 marks means around 65% of the people are around the 80 marks. What are the sample we have taken is a good sample. Means the bell curve. When we're talking about the bell curve, the most widely used bell curve. This is a bell curve. This is 65%, and this is a tail of the curve. This 65% or 68%, whatever the percentage you have, the most important part, the middle is nothing but the mean. Mean is nothing but the center point. So 65% of the sample is in and around the mean, means it's a good sample we have, and the conclusion drawn about the population is good, is what we talk about. That's the reason most of the people do talk about normal distribution, right? See, that's the reason. A sample does not have to be very large for a sampling distribution. Very large for a sampling distribution of the mean to approach normal. It need not to be very large, but the sample size should be at least 30 of the mean to attain a normal distribution. The significance of central limit theorem is only one thing, guys, right? That it permits us to use sample statistics. As I told you earlier, it helps us to use sample to make inferences about the population parameters without knowing anything about the shape of the population. Without knowing anything about the shape of the population, we can draw inference about the population using the central limit theorem. Central limit theorem basically talks about the bell curve, right? And the population or the sample size should be at least 30, right? And it need not to be very large sample to attain a normal distribution, right? So these 3 points they're going to definitely ask you in the examination, and they're going to ask you another question stating that which among the following about the central limit theorem is true, right? And they give you one of these 3 options. You have to blindly go ahead and tick mark these 3 things. The sample size need not to be exclusively very large or need not to be very large for the mean to obtain a normal distribution. The sample size should be at least 30 for at least 30 for a sampling distribution to attain a normal size, normality or a normal distribution, right? The central limit theorem helps us to use a sample statistics to make inference about the population. These 3 important properties of central limit theorem, either you memorize it by hearted, but the question is going to be definitely asked from these 3. Either the 3 way they're going to ask this question: 1, 2, which among the following is true about the central limit theorem? What is the minimum sample size to attain the normality of the sampling distribution is 30, right? And which distribution the central limit theorem is usually going to talk about, right? And they're going to give you the options, and based on that you have to mark your answers. I hope I'm clear about this, about the central limit theorem, right? And one more thing they're going to talk about, as I told you earlier, present value we already spoke about, future value we already spoke about, right? Discount rate we spoke about, and based on that they're going to ask you questions, and accordingly you need to go ahead and mark your answers. And one more thing, they may ask you in the worst of the worst situations, not necessarily they're going to ask you this question, but they're going to ask you about finding the z value, right? Z value means like normal distribution value they're going to ask you, right? That's the last thing they're going to ask you about, but I'm going to brief you about that also in a quick time. Give me a minute. I'm going to give you the smallest of the smallest example. As we told about, what do you call, we spoke about what? We spoke about standard error. Now we're going to talk about the z values. I think I have taken one. Yes, I think this is a better example I can deal with. Okay, so the question is going to be like this: in a sample of 25 observations from a normal distribution with a mean of 98.6 and a standard deviation of 17.2, what is the probability? What is the probability that x lies between 92 and 102? Right, x lies between 92 and 102. This question, I think this is a stock question. This is a stock question. Usually they're going to ask you in the examination, and we're going to solve this question and we can wrap it up for the day. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so x lies between 92 102. So the important thing is, like, here they spoke about normal distribution. So whatever the sample or whatever the math, whatever the numericals they have given, we have to convert this into this normal distribution. So the formula for the z value is like x bar minus mu by sigma x bar. Whenever I'm talking about x bar, what is that? It has to strike in your mind. Anybody?
Mean.
Whenever I'm talking about x bar, what is that? It has to strike in your mind, guys.
Sample mean, sir.
Exactly. Sample mean. So here, what is the sample mean? Okay, I'll show you the question. Here, the sample mean is 98.6. Right? Standard deviation is 17.2. Correct? So these are the details they have given us. Here, so if the sample of 25 from the norm with a mean of 98.6 and standard deviation of 17.2, right? If in case they're giving a question like this, right? When they're giving a sample and they're giving a standard deviation, they're not mentioning anything about the standard deviation of the sample mean or the standard deviation of the population. Here, the catch is you have to take the standard error. You have to take the standard error. Standard error is sigma by
Root n.
exactly sigma by root n. Exactly, very good. I don't know who answered this question, but I'm pretty happy with that. The sigma is going to be 17.2 by root 25. When they're not specifying anything about the sample standard deviation, anybody is just lost, let me reiterate on, I'm rephrasing this statement once again. If it is not mentioned anything about the standard deviation of the mean or the standard deviation of the population, go ahead and take the standard error. Means nothing but sigma by root n. So here the sigma is going to be 17.2 divided by square root of 25. So it's going to be 3.44. That's going to be the sigma x bar. It means, like, what is the standard deviation of the mean? We can going to take it. So the formula, it's going to be x minus mu is here. If you take 17.2 directly, meaning your answer is going to go wrong. So here x bar is what? X bar is going to be how much?
92.
Exactly. Very good. 92 minus. Here the mean is 98.6 divided by 3.44. The answer is going to be minus 1.91. Right? It's going to be 1.91. Minus 98.6, right? Probability cannot be more than 1, right? Okay. 92 minus 98.6 divided by... Okay, perfect. So here we got the Z value, right? So in the examination, so we are talking about probability. What is the one property of probability? Can anybody tell me? One basic property of the probability? Probability always cannot be more than 1, right? So here it is 1.91 means we have to check the probability table, right? I think in the examination they'll give you the probability table. I think all of you know how to check the probability table. I'll show you guys. Give me a minute. I hope I can show you. Everybody can see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So here, how much the value you have received?
9186.
Okay, 1.9186 is 1.9. You see 1.9. So what is the second value? 1.91. We can take it 1.91. If it is 1.9, so this is 1.9 plus 1. 0.281, right? .91, right? This is not probability. This is not the proper Z table. There's some error in the Z table. One second. Anybody have textbooks?
Sir,
with
yes,
you
sir.
guys?
I'm seeing that the value, sir, 1.91 is 0.4719, sir.
Okay, one second. Huh? 1. I mean
For
this.
1.9.
Okay. This is showing the cumulative normal distribution table. That's the reason it's not giving the right one. What is the value, sir? Can you tell me?
Sir, it's 0.4719, sir.
Okay, so this is 0.4719.
Yes,
So
sir.
next, one more value is like lies between 102, right? So 102 minus 98.6 divided by 3.44. Can you check the value for this? 0.98?
So 0.9, it's 0.3565.
0.3565. 0.3565. Okay. So the probability is going to be 0.82. The probability that Z is going to lie between 92 and 102 is like 0.82, right? 0.82 means almost like 82% probability is there that that X is going to lie between these two, right? 82% probability is there. 82% probability is there that X is going to lie between these two. See, basically the Z value is like in the examination, 90% of the time they may not ask you the Z value, but still just in case if they ask you the Z value, they'll give you the Z table also. Like 2-3 rows of Z table they'll give you, but they'll give you only one side, means either positive they give or negative they give, right? Even if it is negative value or positive value, because a symmetric normal distribution curve, it's a symmetric normal distribution curve. Symmetric means if you fold it into two, it's going to be very much equal. It's a symmetric normal distribution curve. That's the reason. So even if it is a negative value or positive value, you can check it anyone. For example, who has seen the textbook, if you can see, Here it is minus 1.91. Even if you see the positive value also 1.91, it's going to give the same value. The probability value is going to be the same, 0.47 only. Even if it is negative 0.988 also, it's going to give the same value as 0.35 only. So the value is not going to change regardless of negative or positive. So don't get confused in the examination. So the probability is going to be 0.8% of probability that X is going to lie between 92 and 102. This question, as much I remember, only once they have asked in the examination. But if you are like, if in case they ask you once again, it's up to you guys. You can go ahead and solve it. And going forward, I think everything in the whatever given in the textbook and whatever we have discussed today, it's only mostly the numericals part we have discussed. The rest all things, be it bond valuation, be it present value, be it future value, be it correlation, be it covariance, be it variance, be it mean, be it standard deviation, everything they're going to ask you in the numericals part. Rest all things, if they're going to ask you about the different types of sampling, like random sampling, systemic sampling, cluster sampling, or any other sampling they're going to ask you, it's all about definitions you have to go through. Either they're going to ask you about a sampling, like they're going to give you the definition, they're going to ask which among the following is a sampling, or they're going to ask you which among the following is true about random, systemic, cluster, statistic, or stratified sampling. So you have to go through your definitions. I did not speak anything about any theoretical questions of what they're going to ask you in the examination in this session, because earlier we have already dealt with that. In this session, we are only talking about only and only the numericals, what they're going to ask you in the examination perspective. Rest all the theoretical questions you have to go through. And in time series also, the cyclic variations, seasonal variations, again, they're going to ask you curve, graphs, you no need to worry at all. As of today in the history of IIB, anybody have seen any of the graphical representation question in the examination? You can let me ask. As I know, they never asked me anything about the graphical representation. Even linear representation also they have not asked. Forget about the parabola and all those things. And they're going to mostly ask about cyclic, seasonal, and what among the true about the what all this variation they're going to ask you. More than that, they may not ask you anything much, right? So I request you to guys don't get more panic with the numericals. Numericals will not be much of they're not going to complicate your numericals. Mostly the numericals part, what they're going to ask you is like pretty straightforward. The only thing you have to identify yourself is how much you will be able to identify the correct numbers in substituting the formulas. I always recommend you guys to write down the formulas in one page, and before going to the examination, give a glance about all these questions like z values, correlation, covariance, variance, standard deviation, standard error of the mean, standard error of the population, all these things, sigma, mu, x minus x bar, or what all the formulas we have, just write it down and in a piece of paper, anybody, and just put it in the group. If in case we'll just evaluate it, if everything is fine and good, then we can go ahead and if everybody can go through it before the examination and go ahead and give the examination, right? And giving this a concluding note, I hope this has been informative for you, and thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, kindly put it in the group. Given the time, this week I'll be relatively less busy because I'm at my home with my parents, so I'll be relatively less busy, so I can reply back to you guys, right, than on any other normal working days, right? So over to Ajay sir.
Okay. Thank you, Vishnu. Dear participants, I'll be sharing with you this recording plus some presentations which we have shared with the regular students. We will also be sharing with you some 160 or 100 one-word questions and answers. Vishnu, you had corrected and sent me those questions. Which
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
because I need some clarifications on that. So if we can chat sometime tomorrow, anytime for half an hour, I can clarify it and share with these candidates also, because that will give them lots of options to answer one-word questions also.
Sure,
so,
sir.
Anytime you tell me, I can try to be with you for half an hour and maybe 10 minutes, not even half an hour.
Sure,
10 minutes will be sufficient. We can do that. Okay,
sure,
then we'll
sir.
share
Done,
with
sir.
them.
Done, sir. Done,
Okay,
sir.
yeah. And participants, always don't forget to by heart the formula. There's no shortcut for that. By heart the formula. Bond valuation, be thorough with it. There can be single questions or multiple questions with five marks on that, and also NPV and time value of money. Lots of questions will be from that. So don't hesitate. I know you can crack it. You will be able to do that. I'm confident of you. That's why you are all there till this time listening to Mr. Vishnu. So we'll be sharing with you more materials, but don't go panicky and go on searching for more materials. This is not going to help you. So we are focusing on what is important, that is sufficient for you to clear the examination, as well as to give you a good understanding of the topic as you go up in your career. Many of your decisions will have to be done based on these things. Okay. So we are with you. We will be happy if you are confident. You be confident and be sure that you have the capability to crack it. You have the capability to understand it. It's nothing beyond anybody's comprehension. So it is possible. Do it. And if you have any doubts, make clear, post it in the WhatsApp group. There will be clarifications from the faculty, not only in business mathematics, for any other topic for that matter. Okay, so we'll be sharing this and sharing the presentations also to all of you. And we have been sharing some of our YouTube